Hello. So Joe Biden left himself in some hot water. The media goes after Tucker Carlson, and the Democrats rally for abortion. I'm gonna get to all of it. My name is Sean Clinton, and this is the God and Freedom Show. Alright, I hope everyone had a great weekend. We have a lot to get to, so let's not waste any time. So with the 2020 presidential election coming up soon, we have a number of quite interesting candidates in the Democratic mix. We have Beto O'Rourke, who acts like the kind of the cool kid on the block, who has appealed to like a lot of millennials mostly. He once, when he was 26 years old, had a DUI hit and run, which I mean that's all fun and all, whatever. Then we have Elizabeth Warren, who once claimed to be Native American to get herself into school, but it turns out that she's whiter than me. Then we have Cory Booker, who once called himself Spartacus during the Kavanaugh hearings. Then we have Bernie Sanders, who is basically a loony socialist who likes quitting. Then we have Joe Biden, who once was the former vice president for Barack Obama, and he's more kind of the, I would say, moderate Democrat candidate, although he's not officially said he's run yet, but I mean, pretty obvious that he's running at this point, but it's quite clear that Democrats don't really like him because he's moderate. The reason why I bring all this up is because Joe Biden had himself quite a weekend. So basically, there was a number of basically accusations that came up against him, basically where about 3 women said that they felt he inappropriately touched them in some way. And of course, if you kind of follow the Twitter or social media for a while, you kind of seen those like kind of creepy Joe little memes everywhere. We kind of already knew this for a while. But one of the ladies who experienced that came out. One of them's name. First accusations from a lady named Lucy Flores. And then this is a piece from Business Insider that kind of gives a little more details about it. Lucy Flores, a Democratic politician from Nevada, pushed back on former Vice President Joe Biden's response to her claims he touched her inappropriately while calling for acknowledgement in her first television interview since taking her story public. Flores detailed the incident in a New York magazine piece published Friday, where she wrote that Biden grasped her shoulders from behind and kissed the back of her head without her consent during a campaign event in 2014. In a statement released on Sunday, Biden denied that there was an appropriate tone to the encounter, saying he didn't believe he acted inappropriately and making Flores uncomfortable was never my intention. Flores pushed back on these statements, saying that CNN State of Union, she wanted the former vice president to acknowledge his alleged actions and change his behavior. If he is saying that he never believed that was inappropriate, then frankly I think is a little bit of a disconnect. I want him to change his behavior, and I want him to acknowledge that it was wrong. Okay, so it's basically just of it. Basically, if you have not seen the little memes or pictures that go around, basically, what she's saying here, that Joe Biden like inappropriately kind of basically came up behind her, like touched her shoulders and like kind of kissed her back for her neck, whatever. Which is it is pretty weird and kind of creepy a little bit. But there is, I think, it is quite oddly timed, to be honest. I'll get to a little more detail that just a little bit, but here's the other two other women came out saying kind of the same thing, and this is a piece in the Hill. All right, 2 additional women came forward Tuesday to say former Vice President Joe Biden touched them in ways that made them uncomfortable. The women, Caitlin Caruso and DJ Hill, recounted their experiences to the New York Times. Caruso, 22, told the Times that Biden rested his hand on her thigh, even as she attempted to show her discomfort by screaming in her seat during an event on sexual assault at the University of Nevada at Las Vegas. Caruso, who was 19 at the time, added that Joe Biden hugged her just a little bit too long. She told the newspaper that the interaction was uncomfortable, and because she had just talked about her own sexual assault and expected Biden to be aware of physical boundaries. It doesn't even really cross your mind that such a person would dare to perpetuate a harm like that. I hope I said that right. She told, these are supposed to be the people you can trust. Hill, 59, told the newspaper that while taking a photograph with Biden in 2012, the then vice president placed his hand on her shoulder and began moving it around her back, something she said she made her feel very uncomfortable. Only he knows his intent. Hill's and Caruso's statements follow allegations brought by former Nevada state lawmaker Lucy Flores and Amy Lapos, a former congressional aide to Representative Jim Holmes. So yeah, like I said, not to defend what Joe Biden did here, what he did is pretty gross. Here, it's just bizarre and just gross all around. But it just seems oddly timed from all this. It says right in the piece that Lucy Flores was a Democratic. Hold on, 1 second. Was a Democratic politician from Nevada. So it seems like there's some kind of weird it's some political where am I going? No, sorry. So basically, there's some very political reasons why this is being pushed. And the first lady who actually the first accuser actually used to work for Beto O'Rourke, or actually, no, not worked for, but was a fan of Beto O'Rourke. So it's just, it all seems weird. Again, not to defend Joe Biden in any way, but it seems too convenient at this time. But then again, yeah. Joe Biden should know better at this point. He actually said that he has actually changed since then, which it hasn't been a really allegation in the recent time that he actually did this. So that could be true, could be not, but we just don't know at this point. But the one thing that's really annoying me about this whole thing is of course the media's reaction to it. Of course, there have been some in the media that it's been kind of mixed for the most part. There's been some in the media that's gone after him for these accusations, but there's some that are defending him. Here's a piece from the New York Times doing just that. It's actually titled "In Biden's Defense." Over the weekend, my colleague Ian Prasad Philibrake and I went looking for articles arguing both sides of the Joe Biden question. We found numerous pieces upbraiding Biden for touching people while interacting with them, and several of them argue that his likely presidential campaign was just suffered for it. I'm kind of mixed about that. Once again, I'm not defending what he did here, but I just don't know if his campaign should be completely squashed. If the Democratic candidates want to squash him on the debate floor, they can. But as far as him being forced to withdraw his nomination if he decides to run, I'm kind of mixed. But anyways, it continues here. Finding the articles making the opposite case wasn't so easy. The closest we came was a Medium essay by Stephanie Carter, whose husband served in the Obama administration with Biden. But if the media consensus this weekend was a condemnation of Biden. The reaction on Monday, both in the media and among readers, was different. It was substantially more mixed and less negative. You can see some that view in the letters that the Times received from readers. Men were acculturated to behave in ways that ignored the sensibilities of women. That is no longer acceptable. Okay. This is a very interesting phrase here. What happened to believe all women? Seriously. Are we supposed to believe like every allegation that a woman has to say? We did this with Brett Kavanaugh. Remember? If you recall, there's that horrible political smear where Democrats basically accused Brett Kavanaugh without corroborating evidence of sexual assault and all that. And their excuse was that they believe that we should believe all women, which is of course like really not nonsense. But the fact that they used this quote just kind of contradicts that claim Democrats use. But then again, if Joe Biden were a Republican, he would be done at this point. The kind of loosey around this is just, while I kind of see it, the coming from the media is just, you can see there's a very high double standard going here. And again, if this were a Republican, he would be done. But of course, there's people actually coming out completely defending him. One of them being Alyssa Milano, which is not surprising. Alyssa Milano has always been kind of that weird kind of person with like a high sense of double standard. Basically, remember she believed the allegations with Brett Kavanaugh, but with here she just like, oh, but I know Joe Biden. It's all ridiculous for the most part, but that's how politics is for the most part. Is all mostly ridiculous stuff. All right, in other news, Tucker Carlson is once again in the eyes of the media. Just the round of like attacks against Tucker has just been insane. If you recall, like a few weeks back, Media Matters pulled up a story from like 10 years ago where Tucker Carlson said something pretty disgusting, and then just tried to ruin his career now for it. Which it's just gross in it. That's gross in itself. I'm really against demonizing people for something they said decades ago. But again, I'm not defending what Tucker Carlson said, but again, the ploy by Media Matters, the only reason why they did it because Tucker Carlson is conservative and they want conservatives completely off the air. But once again, over the week, this past couple of days, Tucker Carlson once again found himself some hot water. This time he made comments on both AOC and Chris Hayes. Here's a piece in the Daily Beast about it. Fox News host Tucker Carlson began his highly rated primetime show on Monday night by taking pot shots at Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, so fresh to the face, and NBC host Chris Hayes, labeling the progressive lawmaker a moron while mocking his cable news competitor's masculinity. Okay, for the record, AOC is it's gonna be blunt here, but she is quite a moron. She is just the amount of like bullcrap that comes out of her mouth. It's not intelligent in any way, shape, or form. Anyone who says otherwise is just being ignorant. But he also said something about Chris Hayes, who was the host on MSNBC, and here's what was said about it. Last week, Hayes hosted an MSNBC town hall event that proposed the Green New Deal. on the proposed Green New Deal featuring Ocasio-Cortez. During the Friday night town hall, Ocasio-Cortez lectured an audience member who called former Representative Bob Inglis a moron for saying the Green New Deal is literally impossible, exclaiming that's unacceptable while pointing her finger at the offender. But again, the Green New Deal is just utter garbage. It would just cripple the U.S. economy just, down to like bits and pieces, pretty much. Again, she wants basically Green New Deal basically calls for the killing mass slaughter of all cows, tearing down our buildings and re-innovating them, getting rid of planes and cars and all that. It's all it's all garbage. But again, it was written by, it's sponsored by AOC, so you kind of see why it was garbage. But anyways, Carlson meanwhile had no problems throwing out insults Monday evening during the Carlson Tonight. Chris Hayes is what every man would be if feminists ever achieved absolute power in this country. Apologetic, be skeptical, and deeply concerned about global warming and the patriarchal system that caused it. Okay, honestly, Tucker Carlson is not wrong here. I think like radical feminists like this have power, then there'll be actually some men that act exactly like this. So I don't see anything exactly wrong with it. But anyways, it continues. At the airing clip of Hayes contrasting ideological reactions to the Green New Deal and noting that some people call it our only hope for survival in the way of life that we hold dear, Carlson made another comparison. It looks like Ellen, kind of a fusion show. The Fox host deadpanned, referencing the Ellen DeGeneres show. So yeah, going back to what Chris Hayes said here about Green New Deal being our only hope. Okay, if that's the case, why didn't Democrats vote for it last week? As you recall, Mitch McConnell brought up the Green New Deal for a vote, and Democrats didn't vote for it at all. And actually, AOC, like we said, told them to vote present. But anyways, it continues again. Carlson then pivoted to one of his favorite targets of late, AOC, pointing out that she rejected the idea of Tea Party of a Tea Party at the left by saying the Tea Party is grounded in xenophobia and white supremacy. Carlson mockingly shouted, "Stop with the name calling! You're racist! You racist white supremacist xenophobe!" It's obviously that she's joking here, but the left doesn't know comedy very well. So then it continues. He added, "So it's official. Alexander Ocasio-Cortez is a moron and nasty, and more self-righteous than any televangelist who ever preached a sermon on cable access. She's not impressive. She's awful." Yeah, quite honestly, that's kind of true. Then she's not. Yeah, she's pretty awful at a number of things. But the media's reaction to this is just ridiculous. They're fine with their members of their party mocking Republicans all day, every day. But then when a conservative news host, or even like an opinion host actually, tries to mock a Democrat in any way, they freak out and saying, "Oh my God, that's the most horrible thing ever! How dare you! How dare you!" But once again, just shows the absolute double standard of the media. All right. In other news, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is set to sign the heartbeat bill. Basically, it was banning abortions after 6 weeks, which is the point where the heartbeat can be detected. Personally, I wish there was a complete full abortion ban from the point of conception to birth. Like just completely ban it, but I mean, this is a complete step in the right direction because I mean most women don't know they're pregnant until after 6 weeks, so the likelihood of getting an abortion before 6 weeks is very low. But again, I'm fine with. I mean, I like this bill. It's it's a step in the right direction. But of course, and Democrats are not very happy about it. Of course, you have Alyssa Milano calling for boycotts against Georgia for it. And she actually sent a letter to Brian Kemp about it. And here's a little more details about it. And this is from LifeNews.com. Pro-abortion actress Alyssa Milano delivered a letter to Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's office Tuesday urging him to oppose the bill protecting unborn babies from abortion. Milano's letter, signed by dozens of prominent Hollywood actors, describes the bill as dangerous and evil because it protects unborn babies from abortion once their heartbeats are detectable. Dangerous and evil, I mean, that just makes no sense. I mean, what's evil about protecting the unborn? I mean, Milano has some weird mindset about this. Anyways, it continues. The AP reports the pro-abortion actress who's the boss and who's the boss in Project Runway All-Stars delivered the letter to the governor's office and then held a rally in the Capitol with a number of Georgia-based entertainment industry workers. Fox News reports Milano films her Netflix comedy in South Taylorville in Atlanta, but she does not live in Georgia. When confronted by State Representative Tuesday, Milano admitted that she does not live in the state, cannot vote there. Which begs the question: why should we care exactly what she says? Short answer: we shouldn't. But I mean, she of course thinks that since she's like a kind of a popular actress, that she gets to tell us what to do, basically. But anyways, then she pointed a finger at the representative, saying, "These are the men that are voting on what goes on inside my uterus." Milano told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that Hollywood will continue fighting to keep abortions legal in Georgia. Many TV and movie productions that are filmed in the state, and liberal actors are threatening to boycott if Kent signs into law. "We're going to do everything in our power to move our industry to a safer state for women if HB 481 becomes law." Which, I mean, go ahead if you want. I mean, I don't see. I know very few actual people in Georgia who deeply care about this. I mean, if they want to leave state of Georgia, go on ahead. But anyways, Kemp actually responded to it, and here's what he said: "I can't govern because I'm worried about what someone in Hollywood thinks about me. I ran the last 2 years on these issues, and I got elected with the largest number of voters in the history of the state of Georgia, and I'm doing what I told the people I would do." My job there, right there, pretty much. I mean, Brian Kemp is exactly right. I mean, he wasn't elected to worry about what. I mean, he doesn't have to get his. He doesn't need to worry about what Hollywood thinks. Honestly, I mean, the people of Georgia voted him for a reason to pass bills just like this. But I mean, yeah. People like Alyssa Milano just. I don't. Yeah. She's just worse about this whole thing. Here's a tweet from her on a couple of days ago. about it. Here's what she tweeted. I love God. I believe in God, but I don't believe my personal beliefs, of which we can't confirm, should override scientific facts and what we can confirm. Okay, and she finished up with a Bible verse, John 3:12. If I had told you earthly things and you do not believe, how can you believe if I tell you heavenly things? I mean, that's kind of a odd kind of verse to use. I'm just saying. She has a weird kind of mindset about this whole thing. She claims to believe in God and all that, but she said she doesn't want her personal beliefs to get in the way of it all. Of like scientific facts, which, for the record, the science behind abortion supports the pro-life position. The heartbeat starts at 6 weeks, which is a sign of life. Which is why there's so many bills being passed to protect babies after 6 weeks. But anyways, and again, that verse that she used is quite interesting. Seems how she claims to believe in God, but she doesn't believe that abortion is a murder and a sin. The Bible is quite clear about this too. It's recalled in Psalms 139, verses 13 through 16. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous, and how well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, and as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born, every day of my life, and every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day has passed. So that's pretty self-explanatory right there. It's what it's basically saying is that God perfectly designed and knitted us in our mother's womb, and He had a plan for us before we were conceived, even before we were born. So the idea that God is fine with abortion is utter nonsense. And the one verse that completely trumps that position is goes back all the way to Genesis, and it's Genesis 1. When Genesis 1:26 to 27. Then God said, "Let us make human beings on our image, to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, and all the animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground." So God created humans in His own image, the image of God that He created them. Male and female, He created them. That's pretty much just kind of mini mic job right there. Basically what separates us from animals is basically God created us in His own image. He gave us the breath of life. And with that in mind, wouldn't that mean that every human life is valuable? And and of course that's true. Every human life is valuable, and that includes the unborn. So if you claim to believe in God, I don't know how you can back the abortion. You can be pro-abortion. It just doesn't fit. But I don't want to assume, but it just seems like she may believe in God, but she definitely doesn't have a set value system from God. If that makes sense. But all right, so let's get soon to some good news and some bad news. Some good news of the week. Georgia passed the medical marijuana bill, which is something that should have had a long time ago. I'm completely for this. As we know, it's not legalizing marijuana is recreational, but it's just the medical, with the cannabis oil basically, which has helped many people, like people with epilepsy, cancer patients even, and people with Parkinson's disease. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming that shows that cannabis oil has a lot of benefits to it. I mean, not just even with like stuff like cancer or epilepsy, but even like small little health stuff. So I mean, I'm very happy that the state of Georgia actually is passing this, and I hope Brian Kemp signs it into law. So, anyways, let's get into some bad news. The bad news of the week: Bobby Cox, who was the former manager for the Atlanta Braves, he had a stroke last night, and he was rushed in the hospital. As of right now, he seems to be doing fine for the most part, and seems to be fighting off this, which is wonderful. Just keep him in your prayers if you could. Yeah, Bobby Cox is just, yeah, I always remember him going back because I was always, I used to watch like the Braves quite a lot. I mean, I don't watch them a whole lot anymore, but when I did, even back then, when I was like more of a bigger baseball fan, I always remembered Bobby Cox. Like, he would not take crap from the umpires at all, which was just what I really liked by him. So yeah, keep him in your prayers. Hopefully he gets better very soon, and he'll be back to to work, or back to living his life. All right. So that's all I have for today. I know this one is kind of a little. This one might seem a little rough today. I'm kind of kind of tired a little bit and have little allergies. I mean, it is Georgia, so I mean, just like it's pollen season basically. I mean, you can basically walk outside and you see pollen pretty much everywhere. I mean, even yeah, it's ridiculous. But I mean, hopefully, once the summer comes around, it'll be back to normal. But anyways, I'll be back here on Friday with the latest stuff. Hope everyone has a great Thursday. I'll see y'all then. My name is Sean Clinton, and this is the God and Freedom Show.